Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I'm your host, Matthew, aka Sheep. And, as seems to be common now, we are just straight into the draft. So, first, let's say hi to Ben. Welcome,
I'm
Ben.
I'm not in.
I know. I just realized you didn't get in.
No, I'm sorry, man. Well, I'm happy
Well,
to quarterback you here. Get
yeah.
my
Or if you're out there in internet land and you want to draft, maybe Ben could be in the next one.
yeah. Totally unprepared here as well because I'm
Yeah.
realizing that I'm getting the location rejection on my browser here. So you know,
Oh.
par for the course when I try to draft with you.
Oh, yeah. You
You put it
have to
together.
refresh a few times. Yeah, it was kind of last minute adding you here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Jason says, why don't you just draft for him, who is in this draft? Yeah, it seems like this happens like 3 weeks in a row. We get Phil right at the start.
I know. I know.
Yeah, so I'm going to override my rankings here. I'm going to take a Mookie here. Excuse me. I did set up. I'll throw the banner on for the 4 people watching. Probably everybody already knows about stacking dingers, but we'll throw it up if anybody happens across this. Sometime in the next few days, the top 100 rankings from Tuma and Chris and I will be up there. I got mine done. I have them loaded now. I did some test drafts the last couple of days with them, and I got some teams that I don't know if they're the right teams, but my rankings ended up. My goal was to get the rankings so that if I drafted off of them, I'd end up with teams similar to that I'm doing manually. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. And at this stage of the game, right? It's kind of we're toying with our strategies. Oh my god! I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
That's a. Is there a like a pissing yellow version of outfielders yet?
Oh yeah, this is the first round. I know you have had
Keeping
some.
orange, or I don't know what the pumping orange juice, maybe something like that.
I know you've had some slow drafts that you were able to get in, a couple fast drafts. You are, of course, location obstructed. We'll call it. But you are doing some traveling right now and maybe getting in some drafts. But yeah, how much have you drafted? Just a couple of teams full all the way through?
I've only got one team all the way through, and I think I'm in about 15 slows right now that are a mix of like getting to pick 100 and some that haven't yet filled up yet. So very very naive in terms of where the ADP is, and just a little bit of strategy. That's really all I've consumed so far. I've gotten most of the stacking dinger shows done, and a few of the appearances like Tuma did with Bubba and Bloom, or bench with Bubba. So
yeah, that was good.
Mostly also too, just the rotopods are definitely flying. So I'm listening to a lot of those too.
Yeah, turn me up. We have unfortunately filled rooms right as the draft started last 3 weeks in a row. So
we can get the backup room going. It won't show you on stream, but hopefully I'll be there in a second.
Ben will be in the next room if he got his location thing figured out. But yeah, we do see someone taking, this is an interesting start, Kyle Tucker, Luis Robert.
So that's that's an early second round Robert.
Yeah,
that's a little different, right? I think I talked a little bit how he's not for me, but I think in the context of overall outfield, you have to respect what his upside case could be. So, but more that seems a little juicy there. Start of the second, I don't think I've seen that yet.
Yeah, I've pushed him at the end of the second, but yeah, if that isn't a bad combo, really, Tucker, and if we have a nice season from Robert. So I took Corey Seager.
No,
I have at this point in the draft, I have a lot of first round outfielder followed by Corey Seager, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner. I do want to push up my Bobby Witt into that closer to those guys.
Because I've drafted, and it's mostly, just picking my guys, I would say, but I've started to try to build in more of the sheet picks, so to speak.
Yeah.
B3 IS Bowl. And so Bobby Witt, he's like the number 7th or 8th player overall, I think.
Yeah. I think you pointed out the other day he's the first projected infielder on the sheet.
Yeah. So I know in one of my drafts I got him at like pick 32 or something like that.
Sounds like the second room is going to be harder than this one.
Well, the second room still might not include me because the ghost of Michigan is still tracking my PC apparently. So, I mean, I can't even. It's not even letting me log in on the PC. I could maybe opt for the phone here.
Oh, that stinks. I know I've had some issues where I just have to refresh a couple of times where it says I don't have the location, but.
Or what? I think
is West Virginia restricted?
No, West Virginia should be good. I've drafted here plenty before on these road trips back and forth between Michigan and North Carolina.
All right. Well, so this is an interesting pick here. I'm going to take Trout because he's fallen. Sure. I don't love it, but this is a nice time to take him, falling 10 spots. I mean, I don't know what does healthy Trout do to his ADP. I don't know if we see him healthy, but the interesting pick there was Marcus Semien. So I've done that on a few Corey Seager teams, coming back around and putting Semien as my third pick. Yeah. And then I feel like I'm way behind because I put 2 infielders in those picks, but it's nice to put those guys together. So I don't want to do it a lot, but I do want to get some of it.
I think this is exactly where the test of outfield versus some of these infielders really comes into play because you look at the season that Semien had last year, and I mean he just scored oodles of points in this format.
2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, and I mean in that range, right? Like Trout, Garcia. Okay, I do what you want there, but him versus Reynolds, him versus Yelich. I'm not downplaying those guys and kind of where they rank in projections and everything, but player for player, I mean Semien seems like a real slam dunk.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yep. That's just a like projection versus position decision you have to make. Yeah.
I think I talked a little bit I didn't. I only did the one stream for the midseason tournament, but this is what I kind of felt was a little bit of a dead zone for outfielders that was really getting pressed up last year. And I know the climate, but I'm still wary about passing on some of these infielders or getting started on your pitching for a few of these outfield names are going to go off the next. Nolan Jones, I love him. I want all I can get of him, but it's just a hard click compared to some of these infielders.
Yeah. And I do want to get more Michael Harris this year than I did last year.
Now that's a nice little Harris dip there, isn't that?
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty nice. We're on the clock. I do want to dip into one pitcher here. Who you like on this list? I got these guys basically on the same tier.
This is almost a case where I kind of like punt and see who falls back to me a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, I kind of like Lindor as a sneaky guy or to get another outfielder.
All right, let's do it. Let's do a little bit different than normally I'm taking 2 of this group at pitcher.
Yeah.
The issue being that John P here has really
so look at that. Wow.
Has really lightened the early pitching load.
Got a rogue drafter
choices. I think somebody did this in the last draft, and I don't think I've seen anybody do it in the 4 since that draft. So 2 streams in a row, somebody's doing it.
I would say, and what I kind of expect to happen, what I've seen so far in my slows. Is that Snell? Okay. Snell is kind of the last one of that tier, I feel like Snell and Lopez. And I'm just as happy to have either of those 2, honestly, as Glass now, as Nola, as a couple others there. So, I think right now for me, it's kind of when I'm in a decision point where I can't really distinguish, I'm just taking a different player that I know I like and kind of seeing if I can get anyone to fall back to me. But I guess, I mean, Pablo, I wish it looks like we really missed out or I missed out on some chance of like he had to be like closer to pick 100 at a little bit point there, didn't he? Or is that?
I don't remember. He had to be.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a real, I think, I like Pablo a lot this year. That would have been a real sweet pick at the early portion of this contest.
Yeah, I think it says a lot that I have him in this tier.
Yeah,
Logan
but hey,
Webb
if you come back with Pablo or Senga or Webb, that's a great place to start, I think.
Yeah.
Or your guy Freddie. I'm collecting a lot of Freddie shares right now.
Yeah, so I do. You'll notice Freddie and Jesus, I have boosted up from their ADP.
Okay.
In my rankings, I think these guys, I might have, just thinking through pitcher as I have the last week or so. I think these guys I want them to be my core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like here we're gonna take Senga. I don't have a lot of Senga. But yeah, let's start with him. And then because where these guys are at ADP, I think Freddie or Jesus can come back to us, and then we can have a real flat start and kind of go from there as we go. All right, so Brad, who I saw saying yesterday that he is diving into the 5-pitcher builds after he's probably leading the field. He's got 100 drafts in. And he's starting to get bored, and he's starting to build the 5-pitcher builds. I don't know. I just like 7. I don't think it's too risky for the style of player that Brad is. Like the amount of teams he's going to draft. Sure. He's gonna max enter. Not to blow up his spot, but I think he told me he wanted like 20% 5-pitcher, and that seems perfectly fine to me. If that's your risk tolerance. Did you notice the other day? I think it didn't really get like a ton of exposure that they're decreasing the play or the pitch clock with runners on base a couple of seconds.
I knew of that. I haven't really, thought about it or factored it in too much.
Yeah,
factored much of anything so far. But
so I never actually saw the follow-up question. Did you see anybody like do any like analysis of increased pitcher injuries, if it actually was higher with the pitch clock, or if it was just the normal amount that we've been seeing? I've not actually seen any like wrap-ups on injuries. I know we talked about it a lot last year, but I don't have any great conclusions myself.
I don't think I've heard anything on any of the pods I've listened to. I don't think I've read anything official. No. So, seems logical, but inconclusive. Not sure how to factor it in.
All right. So somebody did take Jesus, Max, Dylan Cease. I do like a little bit of Dylan Cease this year. Just maybe he gets the luck, gets on a better team, just with the strikeout skill set. I think it's hard to completely ignore him. I know some people probably are because they don't like the walks and the home runs and all that. All right. George Kirby goes. You'll also probably notice that I have Freddie and Jesus above George Kirby.
I think so. No, I definitely think so.
In this format.
Yeah, right. And that's been funny too, right? I think we've like gone back and forth a little bit on Kirby and where to fit him in, and but at bottom line, I think that ADP is just too high. Like it's just there's there's higher upside guy like Freddie after him, right? You know, that's kind of, and Skubal right in front of him. I'll take either of those two.
Yeah, I think I like Freddie and Jesus more than both of those guys. I do have a decent amount of Skubal just because he's always my guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jason's with us, but Jesus and Freddie have the strikeouts of Skubal, and they're closer to the innings of Kirby, I think, this year. So if we get a good run out on Jesus or Freddie, I think they can blow George Kirby away in terms of scoring because they can match the innings. That's my theory, at least. I know I joked somewhere with you about getting some Freddie Cy Young votes or bets in.
I love it. No, I'm already.
I don't know if you've looked at any markets yet. I know you do a little bit of futures betting.
You know my play already. I'm going all in on the Royals this year, baby. That's gonna make you puke on your drink.
No, I mean you have a logic to it. We'll say that much.
There was another guy in the Bad Rose Discord that tagged me. He's like, "Hey, it's up to plus 1,200. I got it at plus 2,000. So that's a win.
So you already won the bet. Yeah,
I already won the bet. I get a cash.
I'm gonna take Seiya here. I still feel like Chicago adds to the lineup in some reasonable amount, and I think he can settle in this year. And I mean, he scored 1209 last year, but I think he has the power upside. He just hasn't really settled in the first 2 years. I don't know if you think his injuries are chronic or not, but
it's I guess yes, but so are Trouts. Talent. I think you just have to assess sort of where you feel, where it fits in your build, what you're going to do with it. Oh man, am I lagging? Like this is so bad, man.
A little bit.
It's not.
I can hear you for the most part.
The Underdog. It's Underdog that wants to verify. Like I'm getting the support emails now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not convinced.
Somebody's trying to log into your account.
Yeah, trying to grab that $40 I made off the poodle.
So, Mr. 4-pitcher start, John P. here, does take his first infielder as a very interesting first infielder in Manny Machado, who's like maybe going to miss a month of the season or maybe be ready. He's going to miss spring training, at least, I think. So that's a very interesting way to build that. Assume it, like, say, hey, he's going to be fine. He's going to come back and be Manny Machado. So I do like how they did that. I don't think you need to take Justin Steele.
True, but do we think Manny Machado, is Manny Machado still, I guess?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like, well, I don't know. Maybe I need to review the sheet, but not. And the Padres a little bit, it's kind of, we were talking about this too. It's kind of tough looking at that lineup and figuring out how you want to play it, who you want to stack with. All right, baby. We're back in there. Maybe I'll just wait for you to wrap this up, and we'll do number 2. You got 2 in you for the evening. I know you got.
I think I should.
Okay. All right. And I won't overdo it.
I got some
slows that I can play with here.
I had the day off today, and I slept in. So, and I may have fallen asleep watching my son play video games after dinner. So,
excellent.
All right.
What was under the Christmas tree for?
Let's see.
I'm sorry, you're up there. All right.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I've gone
I know
back
who
and
I want.
forth on Mr. Green.
Now Green, I hadn't until again I perused the sheet a little bit more closely and kind of saw where he ends up. But I'm with Brad on Josh Lowe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I uh, I have started taking him. I started thinking more about it, and he is going to. Well, he's going to have spike weeks. Is his case? He's not going to be. I mean, he was an accumulator, kind of last year, but I do. Oh, there he goes. But I've come around on him this year. I'm starting to work him in, but I also am getting probably way too hyped on Teoscar because I saw like one rumor that the Dodgers were interested in him. I think there's some landing spots
oh,
for
okay,
Teoscar that could be really good. Uh, that
sure.
or Fenway. I don't know. There's
That would be
also
a good like
some bad
DH, right?
spots.
He could DH for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna comment, well, yeah, but with regards to Low, I think for especially for kind of my builds too, where I kind of said I've been letting go of my third outfielder until a little bit later. So I think
Yeah.
when you kind of wait on outfield a little bit, Josh Low does make sense to add to your collection as number 4 or so, and hope for those spike weeks or those spike units, I should say. Shout out to Aiden if he's out there. Go Blue.
All right.
Go Blue and go Lions, I should say. There we go.
No, I need them to not go. All right, I'm gonna take
Oh,
Dansby to go with Seiya Suzuki here. No, I do also love James Outman this year. I'm trying to
really?
get his.
Okay.
I'm trying to collect as much James Outman. I just think, I mean, he did it last year for half the season,
Yeah.
and there was a period of time where we thought we were all in trouble because we ignored him, and then he got cold. But
Mm-hmm.
the underlying stuff is there, and I think the Dodgers saw enough to. I guess I could have taken him to go with Mookie. I don't think they're going to bat too close in the order, but yeah,
And so
I'm in.
yeah, and again, I'm liking this last little bit of range of outfield here, Outman, Riley, Lowe, as much as I like again taking Brian Reynolds in the second or third. To be honest.
Yeah, it is interesting. One of these guys is probably going to be the Jesse Winker of this year. I think he was going in maybe a little bit later, but given the boost in outfield ADPs even from last year to this year, I think Jesse Winker would have been going around here. So one of these guys probably will be this year's Jesse Winker, but yeah, and Eloy's sitting here still.
Yeah.
I like at this point in the outfield environment. If you're getting him here and he has some health issues, you're still going to get some good weeks out of him.
I think so. It's such a different place than where you would you took him last year.
I don't really think that he took. Brad saying Jason J Train took 4 pitchers early. So he's got the 3 outfielders with the Jose Altuve. He took James Outman, but I like this group of 4 as now he can. I don't know his plans, but I would grab these 4 and then just take 3 late, maybe 1 in the middle. But I don't consider this early based on how I've been building. I think maybe it is for some people.
I think Springer is definitely a nice place to start. if you're getting started on outfield late.
Oh yeah,
He's ending up on a lot of my teams so far too.
yeah. It's kind of a tough click, just based on his trajectory recently.
I think I pointed out, yeah, he had his most plate appearances since like 2016. So he, I guess, stayed healthy, but they weren't very efficient plate appearances when you add them all up. So what does that mean for his future?
All right, I'm gonna put in a Zach Eflin here. I kind of have a tier here. I kind of finished my top 100 rankings with just kind of a glob of pitchers that I like, as getting a couple of, kind of like that similar group that I have in the front that I like to get a couple of. I have this group here. Right now I have Eflin at the top just because of ADP for the most part. I'm comfortable taking him there. I do think maybe people are forgetting about Joe Musgrove a bit this year. Obviously, I don't know if he gets to 180 innings based on how much he pitched last year, but I do like him. Sonny Gray in St. Louis. Hunter Brown seems like he has a clear path to a rotation spot. And he pitched well and got innings last year. So, and then just some boring guys in Bassett, Montgomery, and Berrios.
Which are are fine. We like everything about just compilers. I would say in this format, and they have a little bit more skill than that. Montgomery, who knows if he ends up in a good landing spot, could really be a rise or two if you're getting him here now. So I guess to me then, like looking at your pitching staff, that's exactly how I want to build. I've taken like a Corbin Burns when he falls a little bit, something like that. And again, when I'm in that position where I don't like that outfield tier and I don't necessarily maybe want to click on an infield at that time, but this pitching staff looks like a lot of the slow starts that I've had so far.
Yeah. And then this is sort of the end of my rankings here in Berrios. After that, we'll get back to ADP. But I do have one of my favorite picks, Rhys Hoskins, up in my top 100 just because I want to get to him as much as possible.
I haven't done it. And I was a big Rhys guy. Still am.
Let's see. Base 2 we got. I don't really want to throw Sonny Gray here. I think I'm going to grab Hunter Brown as a fourth pitcher. We could still maybe end up with another one of these guys, but I like this core.
Sure. Yeah. I do think I am pretty interested in Sonny. The ADP does not seem like he's getting very popular or anything. He's still sticking around pretty far past pick 100. So he could be a guy as my slows kind of progress into that 120 range where I think I'll be picking up some shares.
I don't have him in that group, but any interest in you this year?
I just listened to an NFBC podcast, and I think they were mentioning that you has dealt with the loose bodies in his elbow before and actually recovered pretty well from it. Okay. So is he coming up? Is this his range here?
He's gone. He goes right now. Yeah. So in my rankings, I don't have him in that group. But so his ADP is around that group at the end there that I had, but I just don't have him right now in there, and I'm not getting much of him. So I don't think I've actually clicked him at all.
By contrast, I think in the roto world, he's going much later than where he goes here. So that's kind of why I think that podcast I was listening to fell on him, that he's a good risk in some of these NFBC drafts right now. But yeah, there's still a lot of names to click, hitters and pitchers, I think, right in these two rounds here.
Yeah, and if he is having health issues, you can drop him in that case.
True, right. Unless it's I guess it's a draft and hold. But
yeah, true.
Yeah. But you're talking a good 100 picks later. It would seem like, I think, where he's going.
Yeah, and it's just mostly age for me, the health, and then with the age. But obviously, and he's not always had, even when healthy, he's not always had good years. So there's just a lot of yellow flags together.
Yeah, no, I think there's still too many, kind of good picks, similar upside, a lot less downside to go here.
Important question: what beer are you drinking this evening?
It's a PBR, baby.
All right.
Are we allowed to show logos or?
Oh, we are far from being monetized here at the Sheep Seats.
Okay, those. I mean, I do have a little fireball action.
Well,
here,
there you go.
Cheers. I'm on vacation, so.
Me too. Woo. Clean out the sinuses.
There you go.
Oh yeah. I'm drinking some gin on ice. So
drinking some what?
Some gin on ice.
Gin.
Some olive juice.
I finally have a proper beverage cart in my new place back home, so enjoying it.
Been stocking up.
Making some drinks. Actually got the shaker, got the strainer. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that outfield kind of falls off here. Based on where we're at, I'm going to get risky and have a little fun. We're going to take a Byron Buxton pick. I mean, we're already drafting as if Mike Trout is healthy this year. So
you have to, right? You can't.
Let's get
him not being
let's
there.
get the good weeks of Byron.
Yeah, I think seeing it now, though, I guess Dalton Varsho might be a guy that I want to see if I can get a bounce back with. Just, loved him so much last year, but
yeah,
we've hit a range, I would say. It's probably starting the round before with, Giancarlo Meneses.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't dislike these players, but I think I definitely want to have my outfield more or less settled before I'm thinking about taking this range.
Yeah, and I am right now. I'm full out on Ruiz, full out on.
Can we talk about because I saw our Nez has a. I mean, I don't think he has a lot of drafts in yet, but I think he's a pretty big Ruiz believer.
He is.
He's kind of bad at hitting, isn't he? Just like evidence that he's going to make enough contact. I feel like roto guy. I don't know about in this format, but maybe I'm missing something. I'm not sure.
I mean, let's see how many points he actually put up. I mean, he gets on base, he's stealing, right? Yeah. So 67 stolen bases. The problem is that we even saw him losing playing time last year. And they didn't actually have anybody really to play over him. He just, I don't know if it was tanking or what, but
I know I was looking at, because I was just looking at kind of the total points, right? He only had 20 walks last year. I mean, we're getting on base, sure, but he's not doing it by walk. So we like the walks in this format, I feel like.
All right, let's do something I haven't done much of and build a little mini Minneapolis, Minnesota stack with Carlos Correa.
And how we round this out come round 20. There's only one pick.
I mean,
I think we can foreshadow.
Technically there's two things, but I am only doing one thing at this point. I am as much as I want to click Jorge Polanco, I just don't trust his knees and his body. Yeah. But yeah, Edouard Julien, King Julien. Yeah. We are in on him this year. I'm on board. I'm in.
Okay.
Last round infielder, spike week potential. Part of it is the theory that there's still time for Polanco to get traded. and really open up space for him and open up salary for Minnesota. All right, so I know Brad's big Chris Bryant is going to be good this year. 30 years old. Everybody's going to wish they'd been scooping him up.
Is 30 a good number? I don't know.
I know 28 is the peak, but
are we there?
I will admit I'm as much as I'm taking Buxton, I am taking Chris Bryant there. Like
okay.
And it's as like it's on teams that are strong at outfielder already. It's just that push you over the edge sort of guy. I don't know if that's smart because some of the data, one of the things that Chris B3 Isball looked at was how many weeks last year. Oh yeah, IS ball. There was only one. There.
Hablas español, Señor Sheep.
I don't know sheep in Spanish either. Don't worry.
I don't. I kind of speak Spanish. I have some heritage there, but
okay. What was I talking about? I don't know.
Chris Bryant.
Yeah, oh yeah. We did the data they looked at. There was 1 week out of all the dinger lineups where outfield would have been in your flex at a higher percentage than infield.
Okay, so but that's all outfielders. That's just
he took all the lineups and took their weekly scores for each player and just figured out for all lineups if this was scored that week or took their score that week and figured out where their flex came from. And it was 63% over the whole year was from infield. And then there was 1 week only where the majority of flex came from the outfield position. So maybe it's not great to push outfield like this at this point for that reason. But I will be stopping at 6.
Yeah. And you're already at 5?
I'm at 5.
I'll say I like that guy at the top right there, baby.
Okay. This will be my first
one.
I'll let you sell me on a little CES.
Hit ball hard, baby. Hit ball hard.
Hit ball hard in that ballpark.
Some little bit of pedigree. They're going to figure it out. I don't worry. I think that the number one concern is playing time for him, right? Like how are they going to fit all these guys in? Cream rises, so to speak. So I'll be clicking some CES for sure.
I've been clicking a lot more Jonathan India, just because he's going. A few rounds later, and I feel like we've jumped the shark on him.
Do you think because, and I feel like the people we talk to were kind of out on Ellie.
Yeah,
I think that might be preventing us or dissuading us from forming some Cincy stacks in a way.
I think there's also a overall sticker shock on that team because last year it was just Jonathan India being drafted like at all. So like TJ Friedel, like I'm totally victim of it. I don't know if it's right or wrong. Where is he? Matt McClain at 118 seems crazy, but maybe not. Because
it seems, sticker shock, right? But you're past pick 100. It's kind of you're getting to that point. I'm not saying do whatever the heck you want, but you can put that stack together after Ellie all pick 90 and later. Kind of, it seems like
you're getting called out here. I'm going to take Mackenzie Gore. Usually I take Reed Detmers here, but I've talked to a few people, and I feel like I'm probably too low on Mackenzie Gore this year, so I do want to get some.
I can see that.
But yeah, you.
Oh!
I don't know if you got your location issue figured out.
No, I'm ready to go, but I didn't. I'm too busy.
That's all right. We'll do a second draft. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, hey, they're filling, right? The Friday night clan is out here.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, it hasn't been too bad. Like, it's nice to look at this room. Like, I looked at it was like a half an hour before we started. I popped in to see how many were left to try and time it right, and obviously we didn't completely do it correct because you didn't get in. But within that half an hour, it went from 7 to full, which for December 29th, and not it, other than Jason, who J Train, I don't know any of these other people, so it's awesome to be bumping that. Like, it feels like it takes a while to draft compared to football, but it's still remarkable where we're at right now.
Yeah, and this draft, I mean, you're almost this draft's been humming,
Yeah, that's true.
Looks like everyone's picking quick.
This is true. We are going.
That's beautiful. No, yeah, I'm sorry.
This is an early William Contreras. Don't hate it.
I got time. I'm going to be in North Carolina for a full week next week. So
nice. Do you have a set of things that you need to do when you go back?
No. This is I lived in Charlotte for 15 years or so.
Yeah.
So I'm just visiting friends. I'm going to go to New Year's Eve parties down there. My full-time job, my home office is in Charlotte, so I'm going to work today out of the office and everything, even though I don't really have to. But I just thought I'd pop in. Show up my face a little bit. So,
but there's not like Charlotte's. There's not the Charlotte restaurant that you need to go to every time.
If you want, I mean, I'll offer some recommendations. Beef and Bottle, if you are looking for a steakhouse, classic, old school, like wood paneled, Rat Pack photos. They give you the cheese ball with like saltine crackers. I mean, totally stuck in time. But man, that's when I go back, I basically force my friends to come with. I mean, they want to go anyways, but it's a reason for all of us to get together to get a steak.
Nice.
I'll let you make your pick before I drop my second one. I got Rex, baby.
All right, let's see. Oh man,
Just click DeGrom.
I did a couple of times.
Have you? Okay.
I have a couple of times.
This is a tough range here.
This is a tough group. This is you should probably scroll down, or you can scroll down. Someone who I've been missing on is Tovar, so I've been trying to get him a little bit. I think he's a little bit expensive for he has a similar, I guess he has more of a defensive add-on than who am I thinking of? Sorry, my mind's blanking here. Who are we talking about? Ruiz. I think there is some contact risk for Tovar, but he does take walks a little bit more. He's got less speed. But I do have some worry about. But I don't know. I also know that they have somebody to replace him at shortstop. He might just have the opportunity to be bad.
No, yeah. We liked him in the second half tournament, right? Because he was kind of heating up. I don't know if he delivered necessarily, but I think that's a fine pick. I don't know where it exists with an ADP, but yeah, just scrolling that range. I mean, if that's your guy, or if you have a guy there, go for it, right?
Yeah, you can basically from here take anybody. I think.
Is Starling Marte in consideration for you at all?
Okay, good. He's gone. No, he was not. I was not thinking about adding him to this old man always injured outfield.
Well,
Mike
that's a
Trout.
fair point, right? You might not have the build for it here.
Yeah. I might have 2 out of the 35 teams with Starling Marte.
Okay.
I think the price is right to take the risk. I don't want to take a lot of it, though. I know last year I was totally out on him coming off of like 2 groin surgeries or whatever it was, and his age, declining speed.
Yeah. Wow. It's really dried up here.
Yeah.
You've got Junior, I think, as the sexy pick there.
Yeah, but we are hoping to finish with King Julian, so
you've already got your what six outfielders.
that'll
already?
be my 7th outfielder.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my guy Seth Lugo.
See. The other part of the Royals is they've signed like 5 relievers or something. And you've heard this, right? Will Smith has won the World Series 3 years in a row or something like that.
Okay. This is not financial advice.
So
I know you didn't say that. I'm going to say that for you.
Is bound to repeat in the future, clearly.
I mean, it's true. It is true. But I think your win the division bet is a lot more in range of winning the World Series for the Royals.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the World Series odds. I don't know. Can I get plus like 5,000? That's probably not enough. No, we need like plus 20.
But with Gore and Lugo, with who we have here, we might be able to take a fun 7th pitcher if we want, or this might be a 6 pitcher build, and we add on a 7th outfielder. I don't know. I have really strayed away from taking 7 outfielders because of that data from Chris on how much flex outfield you're actually getting value from. So,
did Chris? Was that already published, or was that you guys talking about?
He did throw it on Twitter.
Okay.
I don't know that. I know he's been busy with. He's in the accounting world, so he's been busy with year-end.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff. So he's not got everything written up that he wants to.
Come on, Chris.
Yeah.
He's got the Big 4 bias.
But
that's accounting.
I was processing the Big 4 end of quarters, right? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm just kind of feeling that fireball shot, I would say, at this point. So.
Well, then we definitely need to get into a second draft.
I'm familiar with some concepts of the accounting world, but not nearly smart enough to actually work in it. So
I have ended up with a lot of Leody Taveras.
Sure. Yeah.
I just, again, it's the price is right. I think
he delivered.
Right? What's that?
He delivered. He succeeded in his first full season, getting all the run, I would say.
Yeah. All right. This is a good question. I haven't really thought about this too much.
Not KC, actually. This is
we can't take KC yet. I do have to take a pick here. Caminero is still hanging out. But we're going to make sure to get our guy. I don't want to get sniped by these stream snipers. We're going to get our guy, Julian. I also don't think that there's any outfielder or pitcher that we're really going to miss out on.
No. Yep.
Unfortunately, 0 Phillies are on my team, Chip. I'm very sorry.
I still haven't pulled off my 10 rounds of Phillies yet, but I'm looking for that opportunity.
They're priced up.
Priced up. It was easier in my head.
All right. So biggest leap this year. obviously this is like, to me, the way I go about this is a probability question, right? Diamondbacks wouldn't have been on anybody's list maybe last year. Like, so it really comes down to like the who can hit an 80% range of outcomes. And even the Diamondbacks, like, they were good the first half up until the All-Star break, and then they kind of fell off and then had the run in the playoffs. So I think separating out this discussion from who's going to be good in the regular season to who could be fire in the playoffs is two different discussions.
They had a negative run differential still for the regular season, I believe, right?
That sounds right. I believe you.
I think I've heard that. People are saying.
Fact checked. People told me. Some guy on the corner said.
Yeah. No. So, I mean, they got hot in the playoffs, and they obviously, brought a lot of excitement, but
we got a Tiger.
I didn't want to see it, Wu Train, but the Tigers they're signing people, and they, their farm system, which, under Al Avila was just, I'm not going to pay for a baseball subscription, under Al Avila, under Scott Harris. I might consider such things. But no, they actually do have some minor leaguers beyond the young guys that are already succeeding that could really come up and make an impact this year. So, in the AL Central, that I think is a reasonable. If they're only, I think, plus like 300 or 400 to win the AL Central on some books, so that's not like long enough to make that bet to me, but that's kind of an indication that some people think they're not that far around the corner, actually.
All right, we're going to throw my guy Kikuchi as our seventh pitcher, and then we'll dig deep for a last outfielder.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, and I know you are high on Jason said here, the pitching is pretty bad, but I know we both love School, but you're also high on a couple other guys, right?
Well, Reese Olson, definitely, and he might be my seventh pitcher in a lot of these builds. Sawyer Gibson Long, I think now with all the signings, for a contest like this, it's just a little bit too, off the board. But if you're playing anything else more season long, more roto, he's a guy to think about adding your draft and holds and everything. I don't think, no, I mean, the pitching, I think, has a lot of potential. So I'm not counting on, Maeda and Flaherty to make it through a whole season necessarily. I think there's a chance that when they're healthy, when they're out there in the AL Central, they're putting up good numbers.
Yeah.
And Mize, big question mark, but, was the number one pick 4 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, so, yeah. And he's not put together a full season, I don't think.
If you want to talk about Tigers pitching, our pitching coach Chris Fetter, I think he's the real deal. And I've seen a lot more like guys I've never heard of come up to the team and actually make a difference. Alex Faedo had reasonable starts at a lot of points last year. So I think the pitching stat, and also, I mean, the head coach, right? The head manager, gosh, what's his name? He's in the Astros, but the Astros have a pretty good track record of pitching development too. So I do believe in the Tigers pitching development.
Yeah. So we've been talking about, I've been trying to think my answer. And I know we just talked about it, but maybe the Reds?
I think the Reds might have a little more like juice though, kind of,
Yeah, I think the Reds have that if they hit an 80% outcome this year, they could be great with the young talent that they have.
Yeah. So they're more of a like true contender out of nowhere versus the Tigers, I would say more surprised to make a wild card kind of thing.
Yeah. So
I can buy that for sure.
I like that. I'm trying to think. I feel pretty I don't know if that's good, but I feel pretty on the board with most teams where they're at. I'm running through teams in my head now.
I mean, I guess my question to you is how down are you on the Brewers right now? Where do you really think they end up?
They're fine. They're fine. They can compete for the Central. That's their whole goal every year: compete for a wild card or slash the Central.
Yeah.
I am on the clock here. Let's just make this a draft for you and take some Parker Meadows. My first Parker Meadows.
Yeah. Hey, I don't see how he's not the starting center fielder opening day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so yeah, our thoughts immediately go to those Central divisions and that
I guess so, right? That's where the opportunity lies. Well, actually, let me I think I talked about in the Discord. I think Boston has a bit more sneaky potential to do some and also be kind of a threat. That that lineup. I think Yoshida, another progression. Casas. I was listening to a couple podcasts on my road trip here, and I had heard a couple people say, by this time next year, where's Casas going to be drafted? As a third rounder, maybe. He really had a monster second half.
And one of my top, I'm pretty heavy on players this year in this contest so far, and one of those guys is Trevor Story too. So I'm definitely taking bets on Boston offense. All right, Duran. Yeah, if he's good, let's get into another draft here
right now, baby. All right.
Waiting for 8 people. I know they're still running. So
we got friends coming.
Let's do something here.
Already down to 6.
All right, awesome. So we do need 6 people. If you're in the backup draft and you want to do 2 drafts at the same time, come on down. But we don't have projected standings, but here I like going to Fangraphs here when I'm thinking about teams and just so let's take a look at teams here. AL East. I think the Orioles have some growing pains this year. They don't seem set on adding starting pitching. We've just seen them sort of sit with what they have, and we don't know. They almost have too many position players right now, but they refuse to get rid of them for pitching. Let's see. Rays, Blue Jays, their lineup is bad.
pour one out for Chris, right? I mean, IKF for 15 million or so.
Yeah, that is just nuts. I did think that was I saw one tweet, something attributing the Brewers to him, and I was like, that's they love those guys that they can play all over and play him for the month that he's hot and then bring in the next guy the next month. They love those guys. But yeah, the Central, I mean, the Guardians, they have a real young staff, and if they trade Bieber away, there are a lot of question marks, but
they're still, they're not adding, right? They're I think if we're talking about that, who's actually trying to improve through ways other than through their internal resources. I don't. This is not. They're not going to stand out, but don't the White Sox still kind of have some talent and some players with? I mean, Robert has MVP potential. I would say, he could do that. Robert, Eloy. I almost said Mancada, but
I mean, he's still there. He's technically on the team.
If they keep Cease, I might want to bet an over on their wins, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, they're adding a lot of little pieces. Their defense should be better.
Mm-hmm. So Vaughn, and I saw we kind of blasted by him in the draft just a second ago, but I still believe he projects and rates out, well for this contest.
Yeah, true. So yeah, the Central. I mean, not the Pirates, but I think. Well, and I will say also not the Royals. Sorry, but both the other 4 teams in both Central divisions, I think, can win those divisions. I am not out on the Cardinals this year.
So I was about to say I'm looking.
Oh yeah, Brad's there too.
Yeah,
they still have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado.
We still like. I don't. I haven't really looked at Lars's projections. If they took a dip kind of last year based on his performance, but he was injured all season, sort of, I could totally buy. He's got more to show. Gorman was pumping for a second there in the second half, man.
And
got injured.
Jordan Walker takes he's still what 20 something years old. He's like a baby. Like he takes a step.
Yeah. I wonder though. I mean, if you're talking sports betting, I haven't checked their odds, but I feel like the market's aware of them. Kind of, they're not very sneaky. Maybe for this sort of conversation.
Yeah, that is probably true. But yeah, I think that going back to the original question, I think the team, and it is interesting that the D-backs were at last year, I guess. 2 more. We need 2 more.
2 more.
But those are the places people are going to look to get those weird teams to outperform their expectations. What are your thoughts on the Nationals?
I again listening to some sort of more NFBC content. I do think I'm going to be trying to target some of their players. Nick Senzel appears to be the regular third baseman.
Okay.
There was somebody else they signed.
Is he actually? I'm curious. Is he outfield still? No, he isn't infield in this contest.
Okay, so we probably not much reason to consider him here.
But as adjusting the question,
Juan Yepez is who I'm thinking of, but that's a whole different discussion.
Adjusting the question, right, from who's going to surprise us to who might be a good team to do mini stacks of in this format.
Mm-hmm.
We look back to last year and we had 2 teams that stood out for late round stacks that really did well, is Miami and Cincinnati. So I see Washington here as they don't have this as young talent. They're maybe already at, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but they don't have that exciting Ellie player. But as far as where they're drafted this year, Lane Thomas, I'm totally out on this year just at this price.
At that price, it's impossible to be, frank. So Kiebert's again for you look at kind of 1 through 9. Kiebert's not a 0 for your catcher spot,
right? Yeah. So and maybe not guaranteed a second base job, but Luis Garcia had pedigree, right?
They do seem to not like him. They're always trying to push someone ahead of them. How far is James? I'm looking up James Woods. How far away is he? Because he would be like the kind of more uber prospect, I think.
Yeah, and that doesn't really help us trying to do these mini stacks. So maybe there isn't the guys here, but like the TJ Friedels. Is there a TJ Friedel? Oh, nice. We're full. Excellent.
Yeah. The other thing about the Nationals, though,
You're gonna have to talk to Underdog on this one. I don't have you that there
because his elbow is still busted. Chip, come on, man. Chip, you're
Yep.
a World Series contender, and you're worried about a prospect that's going to help you in about 2.5 years, probably. I'm sorry.
All right, Chip's in the draft too. So
Chip's in the draft.
we got Slinky. I don't know who Slinky is. I just wanted to say that we got Slinky. you got pick 3. I'm very interested to see where you go at pick 3. Usually it's Acuna, Soto, and then I'm interested to see where you go. We got Turn Me Up. We got Brad. We got this sheep guy. We got Chip. We got Nez. So this is a friends and family.
We got
compared to
a
the
lot of
last one.
badges, but some non-badges. I was just going to wrap up the Storm get. So if you play DFS, you do come to understand that the ballpark for the Nationals is a nice place to play. So
Yeah.
I think I can get down with that for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know that I hadn't fully fleshed out that thought. Oh, well, all right. Preston Collins in here doing his thing. He's getting his guys. So this is an even more interesting decision. Okay.
That's because you're not going to get a lot of Soto at pick 3. So
Yep.
Soto is kind of the underdog rooms are slam dunk on him. It feels like no questions. So I might prefer Judge straight up, but I don't think you're going to get a lot of 1.3 Sotos, honestly.
Yeah, and that makes sense if you're going to draft a bunch of teams or a decent amount of teams to take that. And I've been very happy to take Judge pick 3. Like,
sure,
that feels great.
Judge, back to your mid-season stream question. What if we're overrating Acuna?
Nobody's supposed to remember that where I was doubting Acuna.
But why can't you draft Judge 1.1? It's I guess just because what we know now is the difference. But there was a world at one time he was the instant 1.1.
This is actually a very interesting question.
Hey, look at that Strider.
Okay. So I love seeing that for if I'm pick 11. If somebody takes a pitcher or an infielder,
right,
that means I'm getting my outfielder.
Yeah.
This is interesting because Underdog doesn't really have defined position rules. Like most sites have a previous year positionality requirement.
Yeah.
Like they got to play so many times at certain positions to get that in the next year. And then they can switch within the year at some point on most roto sites. So I am interested to see what happens with Mookie going. Because I think he ended up to be about 50-50 outfield infield split last year. So technically on those sites, he's going to qualify for different positions, I think. I don't know. Is he second base and outfield eligible? I don't know. I haven't done any drafts yet.
He is on NFBC already.
Uh-oh. Mover and Shaker got a Tucker Alvarez there.
But that Nez with the Corey Seager at 2.3, that's a hefty tag there, isn't that?
No.
No? Okay.
My second pass. It is at ADP, but I like it. That's 1-2 infielders for me. Freddie and Corey.
At the turn though from Draft Olsen Witt. He could have had either Tucker or Alvarez. Or yeah, right. But
he could have had Alvarez. That's very interesting. And Nez took the Freddie. I'm gonna do the 2 outfielder bump up Schwarber.
Darn you.
I'm doing it.
No, not. We love
that's so. The funny thing about this comment, Corbin and Bryce, is that I think for me, it would make sense that they were going at the opposite sides. That
Mhm.
Harper was going and Carroll was going in the second round. So it's a good team, but I would pick it in the opposite order. All right. Turn Me Up gets his hometown guy, his
So
Atlanta guy. All right. So you are on the clock.
I haven't drafted this guy yet. How about it?
No, Chip, it's more that I think Carroll is not a first round outfielder.
Okay.
But this may be latent bias on my part. All right, so who'd you? Yeah, okay. I love that. Pete Alonso.
I think I missed some opportunities in some of my slows from a couple weeks ago to jump on a little bit. I think I want to build that up for obvious reasons, but
The
we're
White Rabbit. We do get another 2-start pitcher. We'll see if they take a third and a fourth.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I will fully admit that I'm still probably biased on Corbin from last year, but I still have questions about the shoulder. I still have questions about his power. Not a ton of questions. He kind of showed some power, but I don't know. I'm much higher on the other first round outfielders than him. I have him still ranked in the first round as my last outfielder, so I probably won't get any of him. But like, I don't know that he's a better pick than Kyle Schwarber, but I don't know. I'm probably wrong here. I don't feel confident in this. So, all right. So you did take Adelise. I probably have 0 of him at this price. So,
I was gonna say that that is kind of a spot where I don't mind taking Burns, looking at
okay,
Robert, or
yeah,
Rosario.
that would have been an interesting start.
Yeah. And I've done it already in some slows. So, but I think Burns of the early SP range, might have like the most potential to really sort of surprise and actually like compete with. I don't know if you can compete with Cole and Strider, but he again that could be more like buying a guy for a rebound in Roto, but that's a decision point where I do like clicking Burns from time to time.
Sure. Yeah. And I am going to take Gossman here. I don't have any of him.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think yet, but I'm taking him at ADP just for a different sort of look at this build. Normally, I would have taken like a Yelich and been 3 outfielders, or even maybe bumped a Harris there as a 3rd outfielder. But I'm going to do a little bit different pick. Let's see what Nez does here after taking those 2 infielders. Yeah, and back to Corbin Carroll, 54 stolen bases. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And like I did happen to see him play live once last year. I did when the Diamondbacks were in town. I did have to go see him play, and like you just see the speed. Like even during warm-ups, like I was watching him like just stretch out and warm up, and you just see the speed. So that's definitely real. Nez does go with the Brian Reynolds. I've not got to Brian Reynolds this year.
I don't. And again, I know where the sheet has it. I believe it's a fine pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say one element is that, and I've chatted with Nez on Twitter. Like, he seems so down on the Pirates, and I'm kind of like, well, didn't they show a little bit last year, and they're coming back with mostly the same crew? Can't they? But I don't know how much I want to start collecting and stacking them, in this contest. And if you start with Brian Reynolds, I think any of your early picks, right, you're going to be a little influenced to try to find your partners to go along with him as the draft continues.
Yeah. I don't love that O'Neal Cruz has increased in price to match. He's gone up to match Royce Lewis. I was hoping Lewis was going to fall down to where Cruz was going before. But I have been getting Cabrian Hayes in the last round as a mix-in outfielder. All right.
I did want to say, though, I think that Gausman pick is definitely interesting, and those are the two. I think Gausman, Burns, take a chance on. They could be. It's hard to say anyone's going to be the number one pitcher over Strider, I feel like, but a lot of the stuff I've listened to has kind of said, hey, these guys are still out there, and they are still racking massive Ks, and they've got that potential.
Yeah. My guy has been Zach Wheeler this year.
Wheeler also, I think, is a very comfortable, pick. Yeah.
It's been like Wheeler and then Castillo in this area instead of getting Burns or Gausman in this previous round.
Now, that's a snipe for me on Lindor. I think I want to start building up some Lindor exposure.
Yeah. And to go with Pete, that's like I know I talked about the two Texas guys, infielders, putting Seager with Semien, but you have two outfielders. And if your general strategy is to push pitcher, to put Pete with Lindor and two outfielders, that's a pretty nice start.
Okay. So I don't like this pick at all.
Okay. Don't do it then. Okay.
No, I mean, we're still trying, stack till we die. That's what I'm going to do. Do you have any opinions on Nimmo? Like, he scored very well last year. He's obviously had an amazing year. He's built that, right?
I don't have any reason that he's not going to lead off there again this year.
Okay.
And you're already taking a bet on Alonso. Why not take a total Mets bet? It's an expensive bet, but it's a third outfielder. And yeah.
Okay.
I have taken him.
It's like I'm still stuck on what I think his profile was, 2 years ago, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe he showed that it was a little more than that last year.
Yeah. And he's totally just an accumulator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but now I'll be interested to see what you do.
I mean, this is a tough range. This is where I'm trying not to force like outfielders into my build.
Yeah.
But I've already said I kind of like this guy in general. So
okay,
we'll go George. Yeah.
Yeah. And now your outfield core is pretty decent, assuming. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you don't even you can take some Springer minor health issues.
Yeah.
As long as he's hitting well when he's in.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that build.
No, and so it's and Springer's a guy that I've had already put into a lot of different constructions. So I definitely don't have him with, Pete and Juan Soto, I don't think, anywhere.
Yeah, so I'm going to scroll down from these pitchers and outfield tier because I took two pitchers already. And I am going to grab I like this, thinking about it, in that other build that we saw in the last one. I'm going to take a Manny Machado, who, if he didn't have health concerns, would be going a round or maybe even two. I mean, last year we saw him at the end of the, he was with this Devers, Riley, Alonso group. So
I just kind of heard about that, the health concerns.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hadn't, I think just overall a little down on him, but building a portfolio.
Yeah. And also for me, taking Gausman and Gallen instead of another position player and then 2 pitchers is how I normally do it. I'm going to scroll down to get that infielder and maybe do a little bit different. So just overall building similar in like still balancing outfielder in a similar manner to that I normally do, but do a little bit different build.
I did want to get your take on, and Gunnar is already gone, but Gunnar and Adley, are you getting to them, or do you looking at them at all in particular?
Yeah, so Gunnar went up there. I do
early.
What is that his ADB, or that guy's just kind of doing what he wants? 44. Took him at 36.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Gunnar with Altuve and Lindor at that range. It's tough to put him and Rutschman together because of the infield 2 position, or them both being infielder. So I'm more likely to put one of them with Santander as a mini stack in this range of the draft. All right, we're going to take my guy, Freddie P.
There you go. Beautiful. Which means I will not be taking a pitcher here, I don't think, because he was my target.
Okay.
Don't believe it'll be Kirby.
You don't even get a chance to take Kirby.
Nope. Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, no. I have an idea now. Now, see, so whereas maybe 2 rounds ago, I was completely flummoxed. These last, you did not. Gosh. Oh boy, I'm gonna time out here.
You got this.
A bad name, or not a bad name, but Jesus was my pick for sure. All right, first share. Get my second.
All right. I don't hate it.
We can build some Cardinals later, right? So
sure, for sure. And he still pulls the ball, and he still hits the ball. So, like, I don't have a lot of Goldschmidt or him, but and that's, here. Just my general strategy. Chip was asking why take a pitcher before pick 100, and like if you want to build that way, go ahead. And I'm not saying it's right. I just feel comfortable with a couple of these actual number ones. Just the overall pitching landscape. There's going to be guys that bump up that we don't expect. There's going to be guys that stink. There's guys going to get hurt. But just with where pitching overall is at, I feel comfortable having like 3 pitchers before pick 100.
I think also too that particular run of Webb, Peralta, and Luzardo, I'd love to come away with one out of that tier. So that, I mean, I was definitely picking Luzardo if that was available to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also too, there's going to be hitters that are, and there's definitely hitters that have profiles, and I like late also. So it's kind of also too, I don't want to be forcing all of my pitchers because I need to fill out that position when I can pick off a guy in the 60s and the 80s, a little bit after 100, and come away with 3 about there. There's another first share here, but we're stacking. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
Now
you got 5 outfielders.
I mean, yeah. So, which again, I'm not drafting a lot of teams with 5 outfielders before pick 75. I'm living a little bit later, honestly. So this is definitely a different draft.
Yeah.
I wanted to say too, and even just like reviewing Evan Carter at 62. Any Evan Carter takes? Because he was for
I'm
a
off.
snack, but later. Yeah.
Like I said, I have a ton of Leody Taveras because I think he could just have the same production as Evan Carter.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that's a like Taveras 75% outcome, Carter 40% outcome, but I think the cost matches. Okay, we are on the clock. I feel really bad. I feel like I'm chasing every time I click Marcelo Zuna.
I know.
But it's hard not to chase Marcelo Zuna.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't have any take whether he's going to be the same as last year or the same as the previous 2 years or who he's going to be. But
I mean, Chip, take a picture over Yoshida, man. What are we doing here?
I think
you have a Boston stat going. I don't hate Yoshida.
Yeah.
Kwan, Ozuna, Kwan, Yoshida. I think I know who I want there.
Who?
It was Ozuna.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were a Kwan guy.
I think Kwan, I can't do. And I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, he definitely seems like well.
Even in Roto, if you were going there, like not quite enough stolen base juice, for the lack of power. Not quite a true 300 hitter. At least he wasn't last year. So no RBI. So he's a kind of dead, almost 3 category guy for Roto, I think.
Yeah, Chip got himself into a bit conundrum here after he asked why you can't take a picture until pick 100. So now he's stuck in that.
Scooball in the 60s or Justin Steele in the 90s. I mean, that's not to hate on Justin Steele. Rodon at pick 91. That's a no-go, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I just that's too early. That's too early. Yeah, because again, in these builds, we're trying to get our, I think for you and I, maybe second or third or fourth. Starting off a rotation with Rodon at pick 91.
Oh, sure. Yes. I see what you're saying. Definitely like him as a third or fourth pitcher.
Yeah, I'd have to have something going already.
I did take Teoscar again. I'm probably going to end up overweight on Teoscar, and then he's going to end up in Miami or something.
The new Soler.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I don't. Again, I'm clicking some names here first year, but we'll grab this powerless first baseman.
Okay, I do have Young over low.
Oh, I don't have any pitchers either. Now that's interesting. But I wanted some. I saw. I had some ideas. Just got sniped a little bit. I don't.
Well, now I think you have to see who takes the pitcher last. Like who's the last? Who's the last one to take the first pitcher? This is a showdown here.
Chip and I are 2 peas in a pod, man. I love Chip. I love the Phillies. So wow, Scherzer is that can't. I mean, there needs to be a reset there, right? Scherzer still pick 97.
Yeah, he's slow to fall.
Man,
I don't know if that's just people don't know about the back surgery, and I don't know.
Yeah,
or if people are just that tied to ADP that they see him there. Oh, Max Scherzer, I take him. He's falling.
Yeah. So I'm lining up my pick for the game with Chip here.
Okay.
Yeah,
he said after pick 100, so you're 99. You can't take a pitcher here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like don't dislike the hitters that I've built, certainly, but
Oh yeah, that's a great one there too.
yeah. Ooh, his ADP is 110 though. Okay, I didn't quite read that. I have my spike week extensions working finally, and I just saw the Springer is the only unstacked player in my draft so far.
Nice.
I was going to ask you about the Torkelson. Okay, so on the Tigers hitters, as much as I still haven't like gotten my head around kind of the ADP climate for him. Riley, I think, because he's outfield and he does rate very well. It seems like on the sheet, so he's the guy that I've kind of grown. There he goes, but
yep.
Torque, is it? Are we completely sold on him? I think he did everything he needed to, but it's still an early-ish infielder, I feel like. And you do have your no sheep shirt on, right? So.
Oh yeah. No sheep.
No sheep. Shot. I do love I love that guy. He's so great. I really started following him, like responding to a lot of his stuff.
Oh no, you can't fall into that trap. I ignore him otherwise. I just saw him wearing the sheep, no sheep shirt, and I was like, oh man, I need that. I don't want to give him money, but I need that.
Because when you retweet him, like, or quote tweet him, like that leaves me in stitches, dude. What did I do?
Oh yeah. To answer your question about Detroit, I am getting to. I don't know if you had a question, but talk about Detroit
on Torkelson. But there's some big ADPs, bigger than we had last year, right?
Yeah. So I kind of have him in that group just because I don't want to have none.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not, he's like last in that tier. Like I like Yandy. I like Kettle Marte, Tristan, like all these guys that are going. I don't know if I like Max Muncy. I might be out on Max Muncy this year. And I like I said, I do have low off the board. So he's kind of at the end of that. So I do want some just for the potential outcome, high outcome.
Okay.
All right. So we got Jeremy here. And something I did want to say, I know you are stacked till you die. So what is the take on stacks in best ball? I have, right or wrong, really just ended up going with right now. I'm just playing my guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm really heavy on guys in this contest. I don't know if I'm going to continue to be. Let's see, we're on the clock here. Let me finish that thought in a moment. We got to fall on Hunter Green. I'm going to take a Hunter Green here. And we'll get back to Hunter Green if we think about it. But yeah, I am doing a lot of maybe 2-man stacks, 3-man stacks, but only like one in a lineup. I've really fallen off. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I've fallen off taking stacks right now this year. And it feels bad, but that just seems to be where I'm at.
Oh, turn me up is crushing me, dude.
All right, you just got young.
Yep, that was a stack. That was the third piece of Texas here.
So the positives on stacks are really when you're going to this is a weekly scoring format, and if you're pairing a couple of guys that hit together in an order 2 or 3, you're getting like increased weekly scoring if they have good matchups, especially when it comes to the playoff periods. Those 2-week periods, stacking a team that's going to be in Coors in the playoffs might give you just a slight edge if you can make it there. But otherwise, if you look at, it's tough because when you're playing DFS, and like that was part of their comment, they understand the DFS reason to stack. You're getting that correlative scoring. And I don't know that there's been enough data put together on like a week to week scoring on a team and how much correlation there is between players. So I don't have a good answer yet. Every year I stack based on feel at this point still.
So far, what Chris B3ISBOL has put together is that like it's. I think, like you said, it's undefined so far. In certain situations it seems to propel, and in others a little bit less so. I think for me, it is my DFS brain a little bit, and just you know correlation when I can get it, when it makes sense. I'm going to kind of lean in that direction. I will say that at least, and I've only done this will be my second fast, and I have 15 or so slows going. I haven't felt like the ADPs have come together for me to really want it quite yet. Like 2 seasons ago, the Phillies and hey Chip, I mean, it was just like it was bonanzas, and they were up and down. Rhys Hoskins, Schwarber was a little bit later. It just felt so right. I don't feel like there's been a stack that I've seen in the start of my draft season where it's just screaming out to me that I need to get it. So I might be backing off a little bit this year too, at least until ADP shakes out a bit differently than what I've seen so far. And
Chip did say here, it's also interesting in like a playoff week, if you have multiple players from a team that does well, they can maybe help carry, like on a good offense, carry a bad performing pitcher or player from week to week. So that's,
I guess, I mean, Braves last year would be an example of where it worked out really and you could put it together, because where Sean Murphy was going, where Ozuna was going. But this season, right, where you have Acuna, Riley, Ozzy's pretty high up there, and Michael Harris.
Yeah.
Can you come away with 2 of those guys and then, Ozuna to round it out maybe?
Yeah, that's another great consideration to point out is the opportunity cost of taking the stack partner to where people are going. In the past, I've always said, I use it as a tiebreaker. It's sort of been like the easy thing to say about stacking, but the more you think about it, like especially early in the draft, if you're taking a stack partner, like where you took Pete Alonso and then Brandon Nimmo, like you really have to think about the other people you're passing up right there when you're making that decision.
Nimmo is not totally a player that I want to be in on, but I felt sore about not getting Lindor, so I did it.
Yeah, and that it could be correct. Like, those guys could go off together for a month and build you a nice lead, or maybe they have a good playoff week. But
so I had Walker Buehler queued, and I was ready to take him as my first pitcher, first share, and I am not too keen on him at all. I think if you're going to do something like this, I guess like both him and Javier are kind of the profile I want. Winning teams showed that true talent at one point, but back to Chip. Why before pick 100? I feel much more cozy with maybe Skubal and Jesus Luzardo or Peralta and Luzardo as my 2 pitchers, and I could certainly let go of Lowe and Gleyber Torres.
So I think Walker Buehler is a really interesting guy for me this year because
you said that,
maybe I said this on See, well,
we talked about it in the Discord too.
Okay. I am up. The White Rabbit did take Reese on me.
But whenever you come back to talking about pitching, like,
all right, I'm gonna take Barrios.
It is bleak right now. Like it is. I would like to have 3 pitchers probably at this point. I really would.
Yeah, and I'm
142. So that's a different story. That's not pick 100, right? But yeah.
I think this is my. I think this is going to be a 6-pitcher team. I'm going to take Barrios here and close it out.
I might go 8 pitchers, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Bueller, for anybody that didn't hear the other time I said it, he's an interesting guy because I thought he was going to be more expensive this year. I thought people were going to really count the good seasons that he had. So I'm comfortable where he's at. I don't, and the draft as if you're right. Maybe this is right. Like starting a staff with him, and then going Christian Javier and saying like what we saw in the playoffs where he was dominant again is like he figured something out. Yeah, you could be taking 2 great pitchers there.
Yeah. I did. I'm going to let it flow here because I got my guy queued. But I was kind of, when I saw this ADP, it to me felt still too expensive because the unknown and there was also that kind of thought from 2 or 3 years ago that did he really outperform his skills already? Now we're talking about 2 or 3 lost seasons. If he improves to like ADP 80, is he going to deliver really an ADP 80 performance? I still have questions on that, So he could certainly perform worse than this ADP, I think too.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get your guy Erod there.
Did us dirty. It's okay.
He did
what he had to do.
Yeah, he did what he had to do. You're right. It was definitely a once in a lifetime series of events for him. But I think he should do good in Arizona.
It seems like a pretty great landing spot.
Yeah. Obviously, it'd be better on the Dodgers or, whatever. But there's a lot worse landing spots than Arizona.
So, again, the pitchers are just not inspiring me here. And maybe my picks of Lowe and Glaber did not inspire me either, but they were stacking partners. We're going to let it run because I do got my guy we already talked about tonight.
All right. CES.
Alonso, CES. And I'm skipping over those picks there. I'm just looking at Alonso, Arenado, and CES. I like that infield. Did you say Lowe is just like a no-go for you?
Yeah, I like Young better than him, and I can get him around later, or 2 rounds later, in fact. I would like Lowe if he was going where Young was. Like if they swapped, I'd be happy. I think we just saw 2 years ago. We saw the max. Last year we probably saw a Lowe, and there's probably somewhere in between where he ends up long term. But
I'm not passionate about him. That was a product of getting sniped on some pitchers and then just seeing the green in my screen to stack with. So, I wanted Young to come back there.
All right, I'm gonna take Correa again.
Okay.
The more I think about it is just tonight, the more I'm thinking about it is like this price is kind of crazy on him, considering his pedigree and who he was.
Yeah. And you liked him a bit in that second half contest too. It was the same sort of deal.
Yeah, and he did not show up for that one. Yeah.
I think we do. Again, but I think if whatever you want to do, as long as you know the pool, I feel like you can get it.
Exactly.
But I definitely think there, if the field is just like pitching does not matter at all, I'm not there with that quite yet. I think there's good builds to be had and getting your pitchers earlier than pick 118 like I did.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've said this more this year or I've thought it more or what, but like I keep saying like I don't know that I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about comfort still for me. Like
Especially this early, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So if like you're comfortable with that and you think you like the team, like there's so many events from now till even the start of the season, much less when we hit the playoffs, that we have no control over that could just make any decision we make completely wrong. That is unpredictable. So
And I would say this: we're about to approach a tier of hitter where I'm kind of back in on. There are some names that I would definitely like to click, but I have a few pitchers kind of jumped up in my pool that I don't like as much as the hitter I could take here.
yeah.
So I think alleviating a little pressure actually before pick 100. There's some good guys to operate down here, I would say. I mean, I don't think I'm going to take him, but Jaron Duran, all day long.
Okay.
All day long. Yep.
Yeah. And Chip does take Fott there, who I think is a really interesting pick this year based on the big. Oh, I started him here. I started Jimenez, and he didn't get taken from me, so that's nice. We'll take him as our fourth outfielder on the winning team last year. So got to get that equity of last year's winning team of the Dinger.
You mean
Granted, he was going like 20th round last year, but
yeah.
no, the whole like Fott completely moving where he is on the rubber, the pitching rubber, and like us seeing immediate results. Like maybe I'm overcompensating new and shiny from the playoffs, but based on his pedigree and then what we did see when he was good, I think he is a really interesting pick this year. In fact, I'm sorry to say this, but I kind of like him more than Erod
Okay.
as far
I
as
Yeah.
like upside goes. Like Erod's a nice guy to the if you want to put a guy in your staff that's going to pitch innings. But
Stability.
I like the upside on Fott better if I'm comparing those two.
I think again I come back to I don't like clicking either over Tyler O'Neill. I mean I'm okay to take that chance. Jaron
Okay.
Duran, and then especially building your outfield if you're not taking outfielders in the second, third, fourth round, kind of Kerry Carpenter. I would feel fine to have maybe a Burns share, over Brian Reynolds, Michael Harris, and
Yeah.
have one of these guys kind of round things out a little bit for you in the outfield.
Yep. Yeah. And that's a really important thing as you're analyzing your team is thinking back where you made a decision and like where later on you are looking at those two positions again and maybe flip-flopping it. That's a really good way to think about it. I like that you said that.
So took King.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear your King.
Did well for me on a whole lot of roto teams last year.
Okay, perfect.
Big part of my nice little season on NFBC.
Okay.
No, but I mean, the staff needs some juice. Maybe he has it.
Yep.
That's about
Okay.
it. Same thing with this guy coming here.
Yep.
I didn't want to click it. I was so in on Eovaldi last year, so in on him, man. Like, and he delivered for the most. Like, well, not quite in the weeks that you needed him, but
Yes.
the ride up to that, at least getting some teams in position and getting some nice looking advance rates, around the All-Star break, it was there. No, I mean, I haven't heard anything like quite bad about it. That's what I got a 22 pick discount there. So yeah, I guess, the staff did come together reasonably well, actually, now that I look at it.
All right.
I haven't heard anything about Eovaldi whatsoever. I don't know if he's like expected to be healthy, what anyone has on him.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. He's another guy. I did scroll down for some Brent Rooker there.
Okay. Yep.
Just because I wanted an outfielder. and I feel like this infield tier can be whatever. And I also have too much Trevor Story, so I wasn't going to take him again. Eovaldi is a guy who I would have expected more hype on him this year based on his playoff. It's interesting how like Evan Carter is pick 60 from his playoff performance, but Nathan Eovaldi is pick 8 million from his playoff performance. Like people don't like who you're going to decide is hot is interesting, like where that decision gets made. Like he's like, we know the problem with Eovaldi is like, we saw it last year. He missed time. He came back. The velo was down. Like he's had this up and down velo thing and health issues. We know that, but then we see him be really good and we don't factor that in, but we see Evan Carter, who we know nothing about.
Yeah.
I mean, general baseball public knows nothing about Evan Carter other than his playoff performance, and they're fine with that, but not Eovaldi. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, he hasn't gotten a playoff performance bump,
Right.
And he came like, so I guess it's always health with him, right? That's why people are going to be concerned.
Yeah.
But the way he finished, usually you finish healthy, you kind of get the benefit of the doubt going into the next season.
Yeah.
And he's
we also saw him like destroy his
dominant.
Like go back to his Boston when he had the miraculous win for Boston in the extra innings, where he came and basically pitched a whole starting game in the extra innings and like destroyed his next like season and a half because of that.
Yeah.
He did pitch into the pretty deep into October again. So interesting there too, to think about that history.
I mean, like Texas, we're so good for us in that postseason tournament, man.
Yeah,
we should be loving them. We got to give them some rewards, show some faith. They did it. My very first best ball finals, of any format, any contest, any sport.
All right, we're gonna take Alec Boehm here. Definitely outperformed himself last year, his peripherals last year. Just gonna put him with a little mini Phillies thing here, with maybe another Philly coming as a sixth or seventh outfielder.
And Chip took Leotis, so he's really not my friend today. But I got one for you right here.
All right, I'm ready.
You know it, baby.
All right.
See that?
Donkey King.
Now it's a staff, man. All right.
Dude, I don't know what to do with Nick Pivetta.
190?
I just keep taking him.
Yeah. You have. I mean, there's no reason not to there. Nothing to say. Yeah.
Like he was like the Twitter posts are flying on Nick Pivetta. Like, here's these 5 pitchers that achieve this pitching stat in the second half, and he's on there. Like, here's these ace pitchers, and he's there. But obviously, he didn't start much of that period, so I don't know how to count that. But I also think that Boston needs him to pitch.
They got to turn it over, right? And I've heard, talk about Garrett Whitlock being the full-time closer. So there is opportunity in that rotation, and his performance seems to be obvious why he needs to be one of their rotation members start of the season.
Yeah. And now, obviously
maybe he goes back to old Nick Pivetta when he's not being, optimized.
Right.
But no, I think if you're waiting on pitching, he's a guy to target.
Yeah. And you're on the clock, but Boston did add today. They did add Giolito.
Oh,
okay. Breaking news.
I did not know.
2 years, I'll let you make your pick.
It's already cute.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they
I've
added
done that once or twice here, Mr. Sheep. So
Ooh, all right. I like it. I like Gorman.
yeah, I do. Yeah. No,
He's a guy that I think
power.
will get likely platooned, but he'll have spike weeks.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, Low, you may not like him, but he's going to play a lot, right? So I've got like him, and I feel like Glaber are more, and even Arenado to an extent are kind of my more steady eddies, and then Encarnacio, Strand, and Gorman to overtake them occasionally.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have an immediate reaction to Giolito to Boston.
I do think it. I'll have to take a look at the old DK Sportsbook and see where those futures are. I do like Boston to be one of those sneaky teams, so it doesn't hurt that rationale. I don't know about drafting Giolito. I mean, I feel like we're a long way away from when he was kind of a Cy Young guy, right? So.
All right. So my Seth Brown, Ramon Laureano this year.
Cheap.
My last year it was Seth Brown and Ramon Laureano. This year it's Zach Geloff and Brent Rooker as this Oakland mini stack at the end.
This is more fun. I like, and I had plenty of Laureano last year myself. This is more fun. Geloff and Rooker.
Yeah. I will admit to taking Ramon Laureano once this year on Cleveland. Okay. I think he should play for Cleveland this year. Question is health, I think. Still, he's always injured. So, yeah, I don't know if it's right. But my big problem with Oakland last year and thinking about it, trying to pinpoint anybody this year is that they have no ties to anyone. Mm-hmm. So they'll play bad people over good people just to see if they have something there or just to tank or whatever the reasoning is. Like we saw lineups that they rolled out last year that were not even the best lineups of the guys that they had. So the concern in Oakland for me is playing time. Like, even though it should be the exact opposite, like they should be playing these guys all the time because they have no one else to play. But then again, what's the difference between Brent Rooker and some random guy just to see what they have? So, and we saw them do that last year.
Yeah. So, what do you think about, I mean, we're all passing on India. This is getting pretty crazy.
I think, let's see, Naz needs some infielders here. We'll see if he takes them, but I have no problem with India being my seventh outfielder. So here's sort of the logic. If I'm passing on Ellie, how he takes Josh Bell. If I'm passing on Ellie, I'm passing on CES for the most part. I'm passing on Matt McLean. Like, Chip does take India. Okay. Like, because of playing time, somebody would have to play, right? Like, maybe they all mix around and this becomes a St. Louis situation this year where they just mix and match all year.
Does he survive at all, though, if he gets traded to like a different park? Is that kind of...
I don't know, because I feel like the down years he has been hurt. So yeah. Like maybe
we see his true talent.
Yeah. The good years he was healthy, the bad years he wasn't. Maybe he just can't stay healthy, and maybe that's a problem. This is a very interesting build. I am stopping at 6 pitchers, and we're gonna like dive deep on outfielder here. But yeah, no. Part of the thesis on taking India is that he stays in Cincinnati and plays well, and some of the young guys struggle.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely okay with him back here. I took Matt Chapman, though.
There we go. All right. So this won't be sniping Nez because he's got 6 outfielders, but I think I kind of like this here for my 6th.
Okay. Yeah, I've taken some. That was when I thought he wasn't going to catch.
Mm-hmm.
So now that he's going to maybe have to catch more, I'm a bit worried.
Performance, just wear and tear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just having to focus on that part of the game more.
Yeah.
Than
Okay.
hitting.
It's pretty bleak out here in the outfield. So it is
I know.
the same old story. I guess. I'm not going to get to him. Moniak kind of interests me now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, he has an ADB because of Brad. He's been Moniak is his Josh Lowe for this year.
Okay, sure.
So just a pedigree sort of thing. Should have playing time. Could lead off.
I see it. Yeah.
So I will out him on that. That I think he actually put it in his Discord bio. Oh yeah. Okay. So turn me ups on the Moniak train. So that's why we have an ADP on him. Why not?
So I have kind of a pick I don't love. I'm not sure if I like having 3 Cardinals infielders now that I consider it, but I don't think Edmund. They're not doing anything else but playing him, right? He's in there.
The good news is that he is supposed to be the starting center fielder.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, he's infield position here, but he's not going to, I don't think he's going to be competing with those guys that you took in Gorman and Arenado. So the playing time's not going to be a problem there.
Get in there. You just don't want to run into a bad series at the wrong time. Right. And have 3 guys competing for your 3 infield spots.
All right. So deep infielder, we're going to take first Tommy Pham.
Okay.
Tommy Pham. I don't know. He hits the ball hard.
Tommy Pham.
Two failed Phillies prospects.
So when you think about it that way, I could get like 15 Phillies on a team.
There you go. All right. So I might. It's really silly that Jason Dominguez has an ADP, but
yes, he's. I see him. I don't know what the status is.
So let's do some scrolling here. Do you have any read? I don't know, in your Roto podcast or anything on Kierstad, how much playing time he might actually get this year?
I don't think I've heard him once.
Okay.
They've got other guys too, right? Like they could get Norby up there, and not in the same position, but they still have a really deep roster to choose from. I feel like I barely see a name remain. I mean, he's in my queue. Ryan Pepio, looks like a guy that sticks out to me right now. If you need a pitcher,
Yeah.
Yep. JT Real Muto, like you could do worse.
Yeah.
What about Siri? If you need a very late outfielder here? They cleared out Margot, right? So if you can stay healthy.
Yeah, sure. I'm scrolling though. I've taken 1 or 2 Mitchell. Conforto, I don't know. I feel like I've fallen off on this year. McCutcheon is actually kind of interesting. When he was healthy, he was still hitting last year, and I mean it's another year.
Yeah,
Grisham in New York is sort of interesting to me. Pete Crow Armstrong is fun. I do have Dansby Swanson as just like a 7th outfielder. Luke Raley had his weeks for Tampa too.
Sure.
Like I said, I did take Ramon Laureano. I've taken some Alec Thomas. The outfield, I think, or Arizona lineup's starting to get kind of crowded. I don't know that Jake McCarthy or him have how much playing time they have. Oh, the White Rabbit does take Alec Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Gallo's here. He's going to go somewhere. Jock Peterson's going to go here. Matt Wallner is interesting. So there's a lot of guys that I don't want to click, right?
Now that
But
I
are
say it, I
interesting.
do have like a little bit of a queue, and I wouldn't mind any of them in it.
So I'm going to take the fun pick. I'm going to take Pete Crow Armstrong.
Ooh.
Totally off of my standard. Brad said even points out Vierling.
Sure. Although, yeah, there'll be some challenges from the Tigers infield prospects, I think, this year.
Yeah. So I don't think I take Pete Crow Armstrong on a 6 outfield build, but on the 7 outfield build, I think I'm going to do it.
Do you? I mean, I know I spent 5 picks before 75. I still kind of feel like I wouldn't mind a 7, but no, you gave good info here that I wasn't aware of on the flexibility of those outfielders. I guess I go back to I don't necessarily love like Nimmo as my third. Walker's got upside. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna let it roll.
All right.
I was late.
All right, I like it.
And that's a big ADP discount there. So I was late on pitching. So okay.
Yeah, and so I mean the guys you ended up with seem great.
They can do it. They can do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind having more stability in my pitching and being able, because there were still a few players here that, as I thought about it, I mean, Real Muto actually,
yeah,
practically undrafted. That can't be right.
For me, it's wear and tear on his body over the last 2 years of really long seasons and how much he's had to catch. So I'm just out. I have concerns about his body holding up, and I feel like we saw a little bit of a decline. All right. We're not going to really go through the teams. Who cares? We all drafted. We had fun. I mean, all the viewers are in the draft anyway, I think, at this point of the drafts. But what's that?
Let's do another one.
If you want to do another one, you are welcome to join.
Can you keep the StreamYard up for me?
I do. I mean, if you really want, I can.
Can't do it without you.
Turn Me Up gets 70% Gavin Williams. That's interesting.
Stan.
They need people to pitch in Cleveland. No, we're not going to sauce any teams. I've been talking too much already. But Ben, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
For sure.
I appreciate you last minute jumping on this with me in a hotel room in West Virginia.
That's right.
But it was a blast.
It's going to be my goal. Every time I jump in with you, it's going to be from a different state. So,
okay. It's going to be like, should I get like a board back here? We can put a pin in every location that Ben joins us in a draft.
Sheep's Airbnb. Just keep plugging in the people that have stayed in this stream. Yeah, like that.
All right. Well, everybody that's watched this long, thank you for an awesome year of supporting me in doing these streams. We get like a regular 10 people, and I don't need any more than 10 people to sit and talk about baseball. So it's really fun that you guys keep showing up. I love it. I'm glad you like listening to me ramble. Ben, you're always here in person or in the chat, always supported. Thank you so much. So for Ben, everybody have an awesome, and myself, have an awesome new year. And we'll see you in the draft streets.
Go Blue, go Lions.